Hey, I'm Scott, and guess what? I am an American in Bangkok. I'm back in Bangkok. Today is Friday the 13th. Imagine that. Friday the 13th. I got back late last night after flying. I flew from Fort Lauderdale to New York on the 9th. Stayed there until, Stayed there until the 11th. Flew out about 11 o'clock on the 11th and got in last night. Got in a little bit late, about an hour late. The flight was late. Waiting for 5 people to get on the plane. So we were a little bit late, but that was okay. It was good to get out of China. I know I rag on China quite a bit, but you know what? They just deserve it. Everybody talks about how American women are this, American women are that, and they're this and they're that. Man, be lucky you don't have a Chinese woman. I don't know. I've never had a Chinese girlfriend, okay? When I was about, 18 years old, I had a little Korean American girlfriend for a couple of weeks, and I couldn't stand her because she was so bossy. She tried everything she could to get me to do everything that she wanted, and I couldn't handle it. And I had some other girl that I liked at the time, and I just dumped the chick, and that was the end of it. But I don't know. Maybe I got maybe I got it wrong, but I don't think so. I think I'd take an American chick over a Chinese chick any day of the week. But when it comes down to it, I really observed people on my trip. I observed people in Florida. I observed people in New York, and there's a big difference just being a visitor. And I'm an American, but now I feel like I'm a tourist. That's what I am. I'm just visiting. I'm a tourist. I was a tourist in New York for sure. I didn't know where anything was. It had been since when I was in kindergarten that I had been in New York and spent any time there. I didn't remember anything. And a couple of years ago, I stopped in New York for one night. I didn't do anything. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything. I stayed in a hotel. I was like, it's not worth it. I just don't feel like going out for 4 or 5 hours and then coming back, and I had to fly out early the next morning. So I hadn't done anything in New York. So I'm a tourist. So there's a big difference between being a tourist and being someone who lives in the country or in the state. But I noticed, everybody's been asking me, so how do you like it there? Was it good to be there? How are your wife and kids adjusting? And thanks for all the letters that I got and all the messages and everything. I only got a few trolls, which is good. Everybody has their share of trolls, I guess. Guys who like to waste their time. But thank you for all the letters. I don't even know how many letters, but I got more than I had time to go through. And I told myself that the trip was going to be mainly a trip just to spend time with my family. Quite frankly, I get sick of carrying a camera around and always taking photos and always thinking about videotaping something. And my wife and I have a joke now, where every time we go out to eat, it's like, photo, you take photo me, photo food. It's just, we got the iPhone out, or we got a camera, I got a camera with me or whatever, and it's like, photo, don't forget the photo. So it's like we take photos of everything. And it's too much sometimes. Now, one reason why I had a bit of a hard-on for Chinese is because my wife was in Shanghai, and she got on a plane, and she was sitting next to some Chinese guy that was coughing all over the place. There was no room to move to another seat. So she's stuck. And guess what? She got sick. Now, who knows? But I'm going to say that probably this Chinese guy coughing all over the place, unintentionally got her sick. So, a couple days later, I get sick. And although I got over it, once I went to New York, I got a bit of a cold that started coming back. And it only lasted 2 days. It really only lasted the time I was in New York because it was very windy. Actually, Florida was much cooler than I expected it to be. There was a bit of wind. There was it was just a little bit cooler. And then I come back to Thailand. It's like 110 degrees here versus 75 in Florida. I'm like, what's going on here? So, we were sick for the first couple of days, which kind of sucked, but we did still go and do stuff. But every spare second that I could, I was sleeping, and so was Bo, so was my wife. The kids, they fought it off. They didn't get sick, but we were sleeping for probably the first, my wife was sleeping probably the first 3 or 4 days. I was sleeping as much as I could for about 6 days, maybe even a week. And it sucked. My nose is still stuffed up right now from the cold. But, I had a great time. And like I said, I observed people. I tried to observe things. I just tried to observe what's going on in this, in my environment. And in Florida, one thing I noticed, and I didn't really forget it, but it just immediately struck me, is that if you don't have a car, it's kind of like California. You don't have a car, forget about it. You're not going to be getting around. It's going to be very, very difficult to get around. I don't have a car there. So my mother and my sister were lugging us all over the place, and that gets a bit old, but fortunately they're very patient, and, we were there to spend time with them, and it was very nice. So you got to have a car. Now, New York, not so much. You got the subway, you got buses, get around in the city very easily. And I like that. I mean, by the end of the second day, I actually felt like, wow, man, I feel like I'm starting to get the feel of New York. And I figure if I lived there, I would probably fit in. I would, get to know the place rather quickly, and I would probably like it. But, one thing I didn't like about New York that was different from Florida is that, excuse me, I went down to Manhattan, I went to Brooklyn, and I went down by the, the 9/11 Memorial. I went to that. And just tons of people everywhere. And there was one point when on the second day when I was running around and I desperately needed to take a piss. I mean, I'm jumping up and down thinking, oh my God, I gotta take a leak, man. Where's the place to take a leak? I didn't know where to go. And then I was like, God, there's got to be a McDonald's or Burger King that's got a bathroom in it. I'm looking around, and I remembered, there's a McDonald's down the street. And I thought to myself, if I see a tree somewhere, and there's a little vacant lot where I can, sneak away and get into a place. Now, I was coming from Chinatown. So there are people everywhere. And on the little side streets, people everywhere. Or it just wasn't possible because maybe there was a window right there where I wanted to take a piss. I'm thinking, I just got to find a tree. Just give me a bush I can go behind. And, I just didn't, but I couldn't find one. I ended up going in McDonald's, and of course it says in there, bathrooms for customers only. Well, I went right in there and did what I had to do, took a leak, and that was the end of that situation. But the one thing that one thing that would probably get on my nerves is the amount of people. The number of people in New York. I mean, in Bangkok, the noise gets to me. It does. I mean, I've said that before. It just seems at another level. I mean, so I don't know. Maybe it depends on where you live. But for me, where I was in Chinatown, Little Italy, and Brooklyn, and over by the 9/11 tribute, it was loads of people, and I don't like. It's like I go to Chatuchak Market here in Bangkok, and after a couple hours, I'm like, I got to get out of here, man. This place is driving me nuts. There's just too many people. I don't like all those people in my space. I need room to breathe, and that's why flying has gotten to be more difficult now. It used to be that flying was fun. It was so fun. I'm going to go fly to here. Yeah, all right, I'm special. I'm going somewhere different. Yeah. See you guys later. And now it's like, I got to go through TSA. I got to go through the security. I got to go through customs. I got to go through immigration. I got to go through this. I got to go do that. I got to take my shoes off. Take my belt off. Take this off. Take that. Oh, you got to take your watch off. It's like it's a pain in the ass now. So, some of the joy is gone from me, which is inevitable, I think, if you travel a lot. And, so, that was it. But, I mean, we had a good time. And in Florida, it's much more spread out. And where my parents live, it's an open area, plenty of room. And it just, I really like Florida a lot. Not to say I don't like New York. I do. It's a different vibe, much different vibe than Florida. I did like in New York that, hey, you want to go get something to eat? Boom, right there. It's kind of like Thailand, and there's food on the street. There's little trucks, little kiosks. There's all kinds of mom and pop shops all over the place, and it's fantastic. I love that. In Florida, forget about it. You're not going to get that. This doesn't happen. But did have some good Cuban food. And I also had some Iranian food that was considered kind of like semi-fast food, which it was actually very, very good. Everybody was raving about it. But, yeah, we had a good time. So I got all kinds of video and everything. I'll be putting stuff up, but, as I can, as time permits, I'll be putting stuff up. And, I guess some of the differences. Now, one thing, I got to say this, and I always talk about this, but you know what? It's part of life, and I'm not going to hold any punches. The number one thing that bothers me in the United States versus Thailand, toilet paper. Forget about it. Once you have used the spray gun, once you have used water to clean your nether regions, you will never, ever want to use toilet paper again. My kids were complaining about it. I was complaining about it. My wife doesn't complain much. And if she does, it's on the sly. But none of us liked it. And we were all like, yeah, if we ever move back to America, which, it might happen in the next, couple of years, who knows. But we're going to have to get a toilet with like a bidet or a spray gun or whatever, Japanese-style toilet. We're going to have to get something because the toilet paper, it's just disgusting to me. It's absolutely disgusting. I went into, where was it? Oh, I was on the plane from Fort Lauderdale to New York. And I went into the restroom. I had to take a leak. I opened the door, and there's somebody's shitty toilet paper sitting in the toilet. They hadn't even bothered to flush it down. And I'm thinking to myself, it just doesn't get much more disgusting than this. So that's one big positive in Thailand versus the United States. Now, there are obviously ways around this. You can, wipe your butt, and then you can go take a shower. You can wipe your butt. You can use water afterwards. you can have a little water nearby in bottles or whatever. You can do what you got to do. But I'm just saying that for convenience sake and for when you're talking about hygiene, personal hygiene, hey man, I'll take the Thai way any day of the week. I am a convert. And I was very surprised because there's a friend of mine, Paul with, and he told me, oh, I've yet to convert. I still use toilet paper. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, you don't know what you're missing. I mean, you have to convert. Make the change. So, I'm sure I'll hear about it if he does make the change, but that's one thing. Now, the other thing is that the United States is far more expensive than I remember, and there were some things that I just went, are you kidding me? I mean, you go to Thailand, you get into the airport, you got bags. I was traveling, I thought I was traveling fairly light. But actually, now in hindsight, I had a few too many things. I always want to have some extra camera equipment, some extra batteries and cables, and I brought how many? I only brought two cameras plus my GoPro. Excuse me. I still feel like shit. I brought 2 cameras plus my GoPro, and batteries for everything and all the accessories that I need. And I brought 1 check-in bag. And then I had 1 carry-on bag, and I had another bag that had my laptop in it. Now, I probably could have gotten it down to 1 check-in bag and 1 carry-on that was my laptop bag. But for some reason, I just had a little bit too much stuff. Fortunately, everybody had a check-in bag. No, everybody had a carry-on bag, excuse me. And then my wife and I had check-in bags. And because we stopped in New York, we had to pay the domestic charge for checking in your baggage, which to me it seems like a scam. It's just a scam to me. It's like, what? Now, it's like you're going to fly and you're not going to carry a bag with you. Everybody's just going to be able to just throw it up in their little tiny bins above where you sit. It's ridiculous. I have a bag. Actually, it's my wife's bag. And it's a bag that's specifically designed to fit in the overhead bin. Well, now it seems to me that they've started to make the overhead bins a little bit smaller. And I put my bag in and I thought, holy shit, this thing will barely fit. I'm like, what's going on? It's ridiculous. I had my bag in there, and this other guy had his bag in there, and the bin was completely full. And they're telling people, oh, all the bins are full. We're going to have to check all your bags. And, of course, these will be free because, we understand that, well, we might have too many bags on board. And, the other thing that struck me is that, listen, if you fly on a Thai airline or you fly on an Asian airline, usually you have a younger, say, 20-something, 30-something woman, usually fairly attractive or moderately attractive. And if they're older, they're usually well put together, or they are very experienced, very good at their job. Maybe, they're a little hippie or whatever, because they popped out a couple of kids or whatever, but they present themselves very well. Man, I got onto the plane. We got onto the plane from New York to Fort Lauderdale, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm about 220, and well, depending on the day, but there was at least one stewardess that was bigger than me. Wait a minute, what are you supposed to call them? Flight attendants? Okay. Flying waitresses. The chick she was older. She had to be pushing 50. So she'd probably been a lifer there at Delta. Oh, it was from New York to Detroit, I think. And then we went from Detroit to Fort Lauderdale for some reason. The flight was a lot cheaper, but wasn't worth it. Believe me, I should have spent the extra money. Anyway, she had to be pushing about 240. She was like a linebacker. I couldn't believe it, and a little bit sloppy. And then there was another one that she had to be about 180. And I'm thinking to myself, and she's probably 40, 45. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, is this what happens now? The stewardesses, they don't want to retire. And they don't want any of this, discrimination stuff going on in the company. At least in the United States. And so they work into their 40s and 50s now. I don't know. I thought that maybe they would start being in their training, they get into the training of stewardesses, and then they wouldn't be flying nearly as much. Maybe they would help some of the first class or business class people that needed more, that really expect better service. When you're in economy, listen, it's just you're in a cattle car. That's all you are. You're just cattle. When you fly business class, you fly first class, they wait on you hand and foot. Now, frankly, I think if you're going to have a stewardess in first class, she should be smoking hot. But, whatever. It's not all that important, of course. But, I mean, if you're in the Asian way of thinking, they want to present themselves in a positive light. In the American sense, it's like, hey, she does a good job. Doesn't matter how she looks. And, well, I agree. I mean, honestly, you shouldn't, fire some woman. What happened to their regulations that, you can't be over this, you can't be this tall, you can't be this short, you can't weigh this much. If you do, you're going to have to get on the diet program or whatever. To me, it just seems like those regulations have gone out the door because of fear of reprisal. So that's another thing that I saw right away, just, coming in. And, listen, I'm a big guy. I know I need to lose some weight. But I'm still, I dress right, and I'm not like a fat tub of lard. But I remember that a few years ago when I flew in, I remember that a woman was with her kid, and the kid wanted to go potty in, the restroom there. And the lady wanted to go in with the kid, but she couldn't fit because her ass was too big. She couldn't get her ass through the door. So the kid had to go pee-pee with the door open so mommy could help. Because mommy could only lean the front part of her body in. And that's when I went, whoa, America has some big, big people. Now that was the other thing, as I noticed, is that, I posted something on Facebook. It's a picture of 3 mannequins, their asses in a pair of tight clothes. And they've all got these, listen, they're shapely, very womanly. But they're firm. The problem is that when you get a woman, I don't know, it seems to me like I happen to be flipping the channels, and guess who I saw? The ever not so talented Kim Kardashian. Now, I think she was pregnant, but she just looked like her ass was about 3 times the size of my ass. And it didn't look real firm anymore. So, I don't know, maybe, listen, she's popped out a couple of kids. It happens, right? But what I wrote with this picture of the mannequins is that I prefer the Asian body. Lean, what's the word? Lithe, streamlined. I like that. For me, everybody's got their own tastes. And a couple people wrote and noted that some women, they think because they got a big butt or a huge butt and lots of cottage cheese that they are therefore now sexy like Kim Kardashian. Which I find pretty funny. But, to each his own, okay? I'm not going to belittle anybody. But for me, that was something that I noted is that, listen, Thai people tend to be a little on the smaller side. They're a little more petite, and for me, that's what I like. I like that petiteness. And fortunately, my wife is fairly petite. And but I noticed that, and the portion sizes are massive. We were joking because Alex, he has been growing like a weed. Nicholas is starting to grow. They're both taller than my wife now. Alex is taller than me. And Alex is starting to get some muscle in his legs. He's starting to grow. He's starting to fill out. He gained 11 pounds when he was in the U.S. And Nicholas gained 10, or was it something like that, 9.5, 10 pounds. And, Alex, he can eat. The boy can eat. I mean, nobody could touch him in our family. Nobody could touch him. I mean, the kid can eat. So we go to this Mexican restaurant. He was dying for Mexican food. And we sit down. He orders the Mucho Macho Burrito. Now, this thing is about 14 inches long. It's about 5 inches wide. And it's about 3 inches, 4 inches thick with all the toppings, the sour cream and the accuments. I think that's the word. The condiments, all the other gook that they throw on there. And it looked really good, but I was like, kid, you've met your match. There's no way you're going to be able to down this thing. That thing is massive. And do you know, it took him a little while. We all sat there and ate our meal. This was not the kind of meal that you just whip through and 5-10 minutes later you're done. But he polished off the whole thing. And we were all shocked. But, what shocked me is just how big they made it. Now, I guess that's, they can charge more money for it or whatever. But, I mean, we went out one afternoon. We went out and we went to, the Sawgrass Mall. Or Sawgrass, I guess that's what it is, the Sawgrass Mall. And we went to Burger King for Alex and Nicholas. They wanted a veggie burger or something like that, and I forget what they got, but they wanted the fries, and they just wanted some junk food because they've been eating. Grandma was cooking them their dinner, and they're always eating fairly healthy, but they're eating good, really good. So they're like, oh, let's have some Burger King. I don't want this other stuff. We went, all right, you can have the Burger King. Now, Alex has only had Burger King like 2 times in his life. Nicholas maybe once. He said, okay, go have the Burger King. They're like, can we have the shake? I'm like, yeah, okay. We get out of Burger King, it's like $20, okay? I think it was $17. We go to this, I went to a pizza place, got a piece of pizza, like a cheese pizza, a slice of cheese pizza, and something to drink. My wife got some vegetable bowl from somewhere that was like $11.95. This is in a food court, mind you. And the whole bill came to about $40. I'm like, all right, that's only $10 each. But if I went to a food court in Thailand, we would get better food, probably get better food. And the price would be, let me think here, 100 baht each, so 400 baht. Yeah, you're talking about $12, as opposed to 40. And I was like, wow, that's a difference. And then it's like, I get into New York, and I'm like, oh, I need one of the carts. Well, in Bangkok, the luggage carts, they're free. You get it for free. You just grab the cart, that's it. In New York, $7. I'm like, do I really need the cart? Do I want to part with the $7? I'm cheap like that. And I went, oh, okay, I'll get the cart, I'll get the cart. Then we're coming back. It's another $7, And then it's like, everywhere you are, it's like, oh, even in the Sawgrass Mall, you want a cart? It's $7. Maybe it was $6, but $6 or $7. So you're going shopping in their mall, and you still got to pay for a cart. And I'm like, okay. And the food, generally, when you went to a restaurant, was much more expensive. But I got to say that the one thing that the United States, I don't want to say the United States, because that's far too broad, considering I was only in a couple of cities in Florida and in New York. But I will say this. Where I was has such a better selection than Thailand. And the quality, in most cases, was, I would say it was noticeable in some instances. Not so noticeable in others, but the quality was very, very good, and the variety. You want orange juice? There's 20 different kinds of orange juice. We went to an organic market. It's like it's like everything that you could dream of having. Everything that they talk about in magazines, you can get it. And guess what? In Thailand, you're going to be lucky to get it. I mean, I don't drink it. I think I've drank it 2 times in my life. But, wheatgrass is supposed to be really healthy for you. And here in Thailand, I know a place to get it in the mall Bangkok. But they said that they don't, this particular shop, I don't remember the name of the shop, but this particular shop, they have them in various malls, but only some of the malls have the wheatgrass. I don't know any other places to get wheatgrass in Thailand, although I'm sure some of the gyms, like the True Gym on Aso, probably has it. Because they got a nice, little restaurant there. But you're in Miami there, and it's like everywhere. Whatever you want. You want this kind of smoothie, that kind of smoothie. You want your little power protein drink. You want your this. You want your that. It's all there. So that was pretty impressive. I'd forgotten. And to me, it seems like it's increased. So that was something else that struck me pretty quickly about the United States. The United States. There I go again. About the places that I went is that the variety was so much, just so much greater than here in Thailand. In Thailand, it is a little difficult to get certain things. And then, we went a couple of places with the kids, and we didn't go to Disneyland or Universal Studios. My mother had said, hell, if you really want to go, we'll go. I said, you know what? It's going to cost a grand, $2,000 to go there, to spend a couple of days there. But with the hotel and this and that and the food and the little souvenirs it's going to cost probably $1,000 at least, maybe $2,000. I'm like, I don't want to spend that kind of money. I don't want my mother spending that kind of money. We don't need to do that. I was like, you know what? We can do it another time. I said, let's concentrate on things a little more around here. And we went to things like, we went go-kart racing. We went to a couple of parks. Like we went to the Flamingo Gardens. We went to, what was the name of that other place? We went to the Everglades, and just about everything cost $25 or more to get in. Now in Thailand, say what you will about the 2-tiered pricing, which sucks, and I wish they would change that, but a lot of things, they cost $5, $10, the equivalent. So Thailand, people had been saying about how much of a greater value Thailand is, and I did agree before, but I didn't know just how expensive the United States had gotten. I mean, we went on the go-kart. We went go-kart racing, and I think there was. Let me think here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there was. Let's see. It was Alex. Yeah, there's 5 of us. Okay, it was $20 a race, and we went on 2 races. That was $200. So with the drinks and everything that we had, it was like $240 with the drinks and a couple. I think we had some nachos that the kids had or something. It was about $240. Now, that's. I mean, like if I spent $240, if I was going alone, I could go down to the south, go to an island for a couple of days, chill out on a beach. I could do this, I could do that. And while I had a lot of fun, I admit it, it is more expensive in the United States. And in some cases, it's worth it. In some cases, it's not. Now, I'm not saying one's better than the other, but it just shocked me how expensive the United States has gotten, especially compared to Thailand. One thing too is that if you shop with Amazon in the United States, anywhere really, there's a lot of places that you get free shipping. So you're buying stuff. I mean, my father, he has food sent from, what did we get? We got some crab. I think we got some crab or some, what was it that he had? Shrimp or something, like from Louisiana. No, we had like crawfish from Louisiana, okay? And my mother made it up, and it was very good. But, he had it shipped. I said, you had it shipped, really? He's like, yeah. And he didn't go through Amazon. He went through the company, but it was like you order one day, the next day it arrives, you cook it up, boom. Fantastic, And that's really good. And here in Thailand, I mean, yes, there are places you can do that, of course. But I don't know. It just seems like they got their act together so much. Their act is tight in America. They got their act tight, okay? And I'm sure it depends on the city you're in and everything like that. But I mean, just like if I want to order from Amazon, it's always going to take me 2 or 3 days because of immigration, because you're importing something. But if you're in the United States and you're ordering, hey, you're going to have it. I mean, you order it that night and you're going to have it the next day. You really want it, and sometimes it's free. So that's fantastic. But I mean, it was like every time we went out, we went out to like a lunch or something. You're talking for like 4 or 5 people, you're talking $150. And I'm not talking about, I mean, I was surprised because, when I was in Guangzhou on the way back, I went to Guangzhou, China, I had to stop there on a layover. And an espresso, just a single espresso at this one restaurant was like $10, $11. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. $11 for an espresso? I know it's an airport, but even in the airport in like Bangkok, I think you can get it. It works out to about $5. It's not even that much. So that was it was a little bit surprising to me. But other than that, I don't know. I must have got kicked in the nuts there or something. It seemed like my voice changed a couple of octaves. But the big thing is that I was visiting. So it's much different than if I was living there. I gotta say, I like the Florida Keys. That's probably my favorite place of the whole trip. We were just gonna go down to the Keys and check it out and see, show the kids, show my wife what it was like down there. And it's changed a little bit since I was a kid, but the idea was, I had a list of things that I wanted to do and things that not just me, but that I wanted to do and that my kids, I wanted my kids to and my wife to experience, and foods that I wanted them to eat. I had food that my mother cooked all the time. Like my mother cooks shrimp scampi, she cooks lasagna, manicotti. I wanted my kids to experience that because I've never been able to cook it here. I've never cooked lasagna for them or manicotti, and although I've cooked shrimp, I've never made shrimp scampi, and I could, but laziness that takes over most of the time when it comes to cooking something like that. But she cooked them some shrimp scampi and some crab cakes and all kinds of other stuff. And so they got to experience that. But one other thing I wanted them to experience was conch fritters. Now, if you don't know what conch fritters is, it comes from the conch shell. It's a mollusk. And what they do is they pound it, they soften it up, they cut it up, throw it in like some hush puppy batter, Like I don't know what the batter's made of, but it's got spices and stuff, and then you dip it in a sauce, and it's really, really good. So I wanted them to try that. I wanted them to try the dolphin, and not dolphin the porpoise, but the fish, dolphin fish, which is also known as mahi-mahi. They started to call it mahi-mahi in Florida, mainly because every time you say to somebody, "Oh, are you going to have some dolphin? Would you like some dolphin? It's really good." They go, "Oh, I don't want to eat dolphin." But it's not the porpoise or the dolphin. It's not flipper. Okay? So my kids had, I think Alex had, at my recommendation, he had a couple of tacos with mahi-mahi in the tacos. And he loved them. He just loves tacos. And then I think Nicholas had he loves crab cakes. So he had crab cakes on Alex's birthday the other day. It was a couple days ago. And he just turned 15. And he wanted crab cakes. He wanted, is that what he got? Is that what he wanted, was crab cakes? I think he wanted crab cakes. And Nicholas had crab cakes when we went out to lunch a couple times. And so they really got to experience a lot of foods that they don't generally eat here. I think they've eaten crab cakes here, but they haven't had mahi-mahi here. And they certainly haven't had tacos with mahi-mahi in them. So that was good. They got to experience some Cuban food. They got to experience some Iranian food, which was really, really good. So that pretty much crossed off everything from that list. We brought home some rum cake. Well, my father knows this guy who owns a rum cake company that's very popular. And their rum cake is phenomenal. I just love it. And the problem is I love it too much. So we got the little small cakes, and we, instead of the bigger cakes, and we have been giving them away to people that my wife works with, and there was somebody who helped with our dogs, and several other people, and so my kids got to eat a little bit of that, So we crossed the gamut. We did quite a few things. We went to the Keys, we went to Edison's laboratory. We went go-kart racing. We went to the Everglades. We did all kinds of stuff. We got all over the place. My poor mother, driving us all around. And let me tell you, she's got more energy than I do. But that was a lot of fun. We had a great time. So it's really hard for me to comment on what it's like, because I don't honestly remember what it's like to live in the United States. I've forgotten. It's been 21 years now. I mean, think about it. It's almost half of my life now. We're getting to the point where it's close to half of my life will be have been spent in Thailand, and I really don't remember what it's like to live in the U.S. anymore. I remember certain bits and pieces, but visiting the United States, I had a great time. I didn't have any problems with anybody. Nobody got really lippy. I gotta say, though, in New York, we went it was the last night that my wife and my kids were in town. In fact, it was about 6 hours before we were going to the airport, and she's like, "Listen, we're going to need to get something for the kids. Let's stop off at a restaurant." I said, "Hey, there's a Chinese-Thai restaurant right over here, or there's a Mexican restaurant." And, of course, Alex, he loves Mexican food. And, they can have Thai food anytime they want when they're here. So they're like, "Oh, let's go to the Mexican restaurant." So we go into the restaurant, and this girl is behind the counter. And we're like, "Do you have salad?" Well, I guess I could make like a lettuce and tomato salad. And I should have known right then. And then it was like, okay, the kids, they'd like a couple of Cokes. Okay, so she brings out the cans of Coke. And I said, can we have some ice for them? Can you put some ice in a glass? I guess. I'm like, I guess. Okay, all right, fine. So then the food came, and the food wasn't that good. It was pretty bad. And when my kids complain about their food, I know, but it's not just me. The food was not good. My wife complained about it. She didn't like it. And even she said, wow, that girl doesn't have a very good attitude. I wouldn't come back to that restaurant. And, you know, we stayed in a hotel, the Days Inn. And it was a fairly inexpensive hotel for New York. And by inexpensive, it was $175. Now, considering that you could spend $300, $400, $500 very easily on a hotel, even more, that's pretty cheap. But, you know, I'm not made of money. And, you know, for 2 nights, it's $350. So, you know, that was, you know, it's a little chunk of money. But, you know, hey, we're on vacation, right? Now, that would be okay, except that the elevator, we were on the 3rd floor. The elevator worked going up, but it didn't work going down. We get in, the toilet doesn't work. And, of course, all of us, you know, we had been walking around, we had been flying, we've been doing this and doing that. We're all like, hey, we need to use that bathroom. And the lady's like, well, I'll send the guy up as soon as I see him. I'm like, don't you have a radio or something? Maybe you could, like, you know, make it tout sweet. You know, I mean, like, this is pretty pressing. You know, I don't want to have to go down to the gas station to take a dump or something, you know? So that was not so good. Then the place was pretty worn. I mean, well worn. And I got the impression that it was the kind of place that wasn't exactly frequented by, well, let's just say this. I got the impression that maybe there were some pimps and hoes hanging out, like, you know, right around the corner of where the place was. Who knows what was going on there? The staff was very nice to me. But then it was like, I wanted coffee. They got a little coffee maker in their thing. I wanted coffee, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I'd rather just have some tea. I said, hey, the glass is missing in the coffee maker. How am I supposed to make get the water hot so that I can, you know, what am I supposed to do here? Oh, just put the paper cup underneath, and it will go through. I'm like, yeah, but I want tea. Okay, well, just put the water in anyway, and it'll go through. And I'm like, okay. So in other words, instead of just putting the water on the little plate and getting it hot, now it's bad enough I'm going to have the water in there. I mean, whatever. You know, I just wanted some hot water so that I could make my tea. But I couldn't do it with the coffee maker. So I'm like, you think you have the glass thing? No, we don't have it for that room. You got an empty room? You can give me one? No, I'm sorry, we don't. I'm like, how about you bring me some hot water? I'll have to see if the chef can do that. Okay. You know, to me, it's like, why don't you call a little assistant or something? To me, if you really want to service your clientele, you tell them, you know what, sir? Let me get you some hot water. I understand you'd like to have some tea. Let me do something for you here. I'll get my associate to go get some hot water, and he'll bring it up straight away. Nope, doesn't happen. So for $175, now here in Thailand, $175 you can get a four-star hotel pretty easily. You know, in Thailand and Asia, you can get yourself a 4-star hotel for $150, $200, even a 5-star hotel, depending on what kind of deals are being run. So I wasn't too happy with the hotel. But, you know, the location was good. It was only, about 15 minutes away from JFK. So that was okay. I don't know. I don't really have all that much to say about it. Now, I got to say something. At the beginning of the trip, there was an incident that happened in Hua Hin. There was an elderly couple and their son were down in Hua Hin, I guess during the Songkran Festival, and supposedly somebody got bumped. I think the son might have bumped into the Thai guy, or the Thai guy might have bumped into him, and they exchanged words. And the next thing you know, there was this this incident where this poor old woman was punched in the face and kicked repeatedly, and the husband, I don't know what the husband did, because I couldn't really see everything that happened. It looked to me that the husband was standing back a little bit, and some guy just ran over and clocked him, knocked him out. And when you get older, you can't take a punch nearly as well as when you're young. If you're fit and you're young and you're healthy, you either got it or you don't. You either got a chin or you don't. But I've noticed that as you grow older, the punches hurt more. And so this poor guy got knocked out. His wife's getting kicked. Their son got knocked out. And they didn't even I didn't even see him start to throw any punches. The family didn't get aggressive and start throwing blows. Now the woman slapped this Thai guy in the face, and I think it was because of something. I think maybe it was because he hit the son. I don't really know, but that's what I saw or I remember seeing. But here's the deal. Thailand really needs to get a handle on this kind of stuff and make it known to the people in the tourist areas that any kind of incidents like this, it's one thing if they had knocked the son out or punched the son and there was no reply from him, and then that was the end of it. That would be bad enough that you got into a physical confrontation like that. That would not be good. But it's another thing when you're kicking the crap out of somebody and it's a 68-year-old woman. I mean, that's horrible. And she was in the wrong for slapping the guy. Because in my book, if a woman slaps you, depending on if that was it, if she just slapped you, you turn and you walk away. That's what you should do. But I know that, with certain guys, that's not going to fly. Now, if a woman punches you and she keeps trying to punch you, you got to defend yourself, and you got to do what you can to defend yourself. So I guess it depends on the woman and what she's doing to you. So that's how you gauge, you have to gauge your response appropriately. But she slapped the guy. That was a mistake, a huge mistake. But it does not warrant her getting beaten like she did. And now this got all kinds of publicity all over the news, and it's just another incident. And if Thai people don't want foreigners here, they're doing a good job of driving them away. Thailand doesn't need this kind of stuff. There are some genuinely awesome people here. There are people here who would never think of doing anything like that. And one thing that I would say is that if you want to get physical here, then you'll find somebody, just like anywhere, you'll find somebody who wants to get physical with you. If you keep it non-physical, if you keep your cool and you speak politely, you speak decently, generally, you can get out of a situation without taking a beating. I mean, there are exceptions. There are times when you are going to have to fight. But most, I would say 99.5% of the time, that's not going to happen. Even here. But I would say that, they are lucky that they didn't get killed. And I'm anxious to see what the authorities, how the judicial system punishes these people. Because if they get something like, a little 500 baht slap on the wrist, they get fined, or they get 1,000 baht fine, or something like that, that's going to piss some people off. Now, if they get a few years in jail, I would think that people might be satisfied with that. But as far as I go, and this is the thing, I don't want hassles with anybody. And, some of the trolls, they constantly are harassing me with messages or whatever, and I either delete them or I just don't answer them. I try not to answer anymore. But there are trolls that have said to me, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to come get you, I know where you are, I'm going to beat you, and say things like that. And if I was 20 years old, 25 years old, I would probably say, okay, come on, let's go. Don't just talk about it, let's do it. But I'm not. And, first of all, I don't want the hassle. I don't want to waste my time on this kind of shit. And so these people were out having a good time. Now, my guess is alcohol factored in on both sides. And that's one reason why I tend not to drink. I don't drink much anymore because I don't want to be in a situation where those kind of things happen. I mean, why put yourself in that kind of a situation? Why put yourself in a situation while you're in a bar and you're drinking and you're the drunk one? Okay? And then maybe there's another drunk person and then you got conflict for whatever reason. To me, what I always liked was being the sober one. And then there were drunk people there, and it was much easier to get out of a situation, to talk your way out of a situation, or just to ignore someone. Because, unless somebody puts their hand on you or threatens you physically, there's no reason to get into a fight. I can't believe I'm saying that, because, when I was younger, I didn't really subscribe to that line of thinking, but... now that I'm older, I don't, first of all, that poor woman, she must have been in pain for, a couple of weeks. And the same with her husband. I think he took some kicks to the head. Her face was pretty swollen from what it looked like in the photos that I saw. And, that ruined their vacation. Now, they're going to tell all of their friends. And then their friends are going to say, oh, yeah, so-and-so, she got the shit kicked out of her by a bunch of Thais because her son bumped into the guy and said something to the guy, and, 6 guys jumped in and beat the hell out of the family. It's just not Thailand has a lot of positive things, and I'm pretty sure that the tourism authority doesn't want to dwell on on the negatives. They want to dwell on the positives. And, I always try to keep it real and try to tell it like it is. I try to, just speak straight. And the bottom line is, you're a foreigner here. You don't belong here in a lot of their opinions. They may think that, hey, you know what? Don't you talk to me like that. Don't you talk to me like that. This is my country. You see, that's another thing that I saw in America is that I saw people in New York, they're from all over the world. I mean, I can't even count the nationalities. And nobody's going, hey, you're from Thailand. I'm going to kick the shit out of you because I don't like you. This is my country. There is none of that shit. You don't get away with it there quite as easily as you do here, and that's a fault, of Thai people or the Thai government or the Thai way of thinking, and I think they need to stop thinking that way if they want their tourism to improve. Because to me, it seems like it's on the decline, and I've talked lately about how the truth is that Thailand is not what it used to be. Now. Some people said, oh, yeah, well, show me a country that is. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking... Every change is inevitable everywhere. Okay? Very few places stay exactly the same forever. But what I'm saying is, it's changed dramatically, and there are a lot more negatives than you're used to be. There are still a lot of positives, fortunately, or they wouldn't have any tourists. But it seems to me that it's changed quite a bit from, say, 20, 25 years ago. And from what I know and from what people have told me, from the early 70s, there's a big difference. And not in a positive way. Now, I got to say something else. It's like, I was gone. I come back today. I go to the mall. I go grocery shopping. I'm getting some food for us, some fruit and veggies and some fish and stuff like that. And I'm looking around and I go, what's different? And then I look and I go, holy shit. They changed everything in the grocery store. They changed it yesterday. What they did was, instead of the tall racks, they changed it to where the racks are like the 3-foot high racks. They're like used in like dollar stores or something like that, where they throw a whole bunch of stuff in the bins. And that's what they used. And I have photos of it. I'm going to put it on my website that goes along with this video. But, you know, I'm thinking to myself, sometimes people change things and nothing needs to be changed. You know, and sometimes change is inevitable and you just change it, it's for the better. So that's the key, in my opinion, is that if you're going to change something, it better be a positive change, hopefully. You know, it's like I went to various Starbucks in New York, in Florida. I went in Guangzhou. Did I go in, where was I on the way in? Where did I stop? I was in Korea. I don't think I went to one in Korea. But I was looking at what each place had versus here in Thailand. And, you know, I'm thinking to myself, in Thailand, what they do is they have something, for me, it seems like they'll have like a chicken Caesar salad, or they'll have a tuna salad, or something. It's really healthy. And I'll be like, all right, great. Now, you know, if I come, I know I can have this as long as they have them. Or the Greek yogurt with blueberries or whatever. Okay, they got it, yeah. And then I come back maybe the next month, and I'm like, what, you don't have it today? What, just today, or were you out? No. We're not selling that anymore. I'm like, every time I come, there's only one left, or you're sold out. So is it not selling? Well, oh no, they sell good. Well, then why don't you keep it? No, it's only for this month, or for, 2 months, or whatever. And that's an example of, for me, it's an example of change that doesn't need to take place. If you have something that a lot of people seem to like, why would you then decide to change and not have it available anymore? Not good. And when it comes to the United States, I was really surprised at just how much stuff they sell in Starbucks. And where was it? Oh, it was in Barnes & Noble in Florida. We went to Barnes & Noble to get myself a book and to get my kids a couple of books. And we go into this place, and I go, oh, Starbucks. Oh, cool. I'll go get myself a coffee. I go over to them. I said, do you take the Starbucks card? I said, my card is from Thailand. Do you take it here? I don't think you do, but I just want to ask. Oh, we're not Starbucks. We just sell Starbucks products. So what they were doing is they're like subcontracting. Well, actually, they're buying Starbucks products, but it's a Barnes & Noble coffee shop. So, I'm like, wow, I've never seen that before. But then, shortly thereafter, I was in some gas station, and there, in the corner, they've got they got a couple of little self-serve machines, and it's all Starbucks stuff. So you want a Starbucks espresso? You serve yourself. You just push the button, boom, serve yourself. I don't see that in Thailand anywhere. Hopefully I won't, because, the only reason, honestly, that I use Starbucks, it's not because I think, oh my God, their coffee is so fantastic. It has nothing to do with that. What it has to do with is that their coffee is consistent. I know that if I want it in a small glass, I'll get it in a small glass. And the other reason is because I know I have an environment where I can sit down and relax and type away on my keyboard, or read something on my phone, or listen to music, and I know I can be relaxed there. That's the whole reason. And I got one last thing. I know I'm starting to ramble, but my mother gave me this coffee maker. It's one of those Nespresso coffee makers. She said, I don't really use this thing. You can have it. I said, oh, thanks. So I bring it home, and, the kids were sleeping on these inflatable beds at her place, okay? My wife and I had one room, And then the kids were sleeping like in the TV room. And my mother had bought these inflatable beds. Now, they were fantastic. You just hit a button, it inflated them, and they were very, very comfortable, and we loved them. So my mother says, just bring them back with you. I said, okay. So we got the 2 inflatable beds, which, of course, that took up a lot more room. And I got the coffee maker. I started inflating the beds. I get back home. I'm starting to inflate one of the beds. My kid's like, oh, yeah, I want to sleep on that bed. I said, okay, let me see what I can do. And it inflates for about 3 seconds and stops. I'm like, okay, let me try the other one. Inflates for 3 seconds and stops. Then I try it on the other one again. Inflates for like 1 or 2 seconds and it stops. I'm like, well, clearly these are not working. I'm like, I don't know what's up. So I say, you know what? I'm going to get the coffee maker ready. I turn it on. And the light's flashing like it's supposed to. And I'm waiting for it to stop flashing so that you can put the little coffee capsule in there. And a split second later, the bottom floor of our townhouse goes black. The thing had like popped the fuse. And now the coffee maker doesn't work. So I guess the ampage or whatever is different. But, the plug is the same. And so I didn't have a converter. And so I'm not sure what the deal is now, but I really don't want to buy that coffee maker because I really like those. And I'm getting tired of going to Starbucks all the time. I like to spend a little more time at home and just going out and taking photos as opposed to going to Starbucks to do my work. And I like having that little espresso maker. It was nice, at my mother's, you just pop in the capsule, you hit a button, boom, you got your coffee, it tastes good, just like I like it. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to get myself a new coffee maker if hers is kaput. I don't know. I'm going to have to check and see if I have the converter, if it'll work, but I'm not holding my breath. I hope I didn't bust the engine. I didn't fry the engine, but that might have happened. So anyway, so that's a little about my trip. I'm going to put some videos up shortly. Listen, I think I'm going to change my Patreon. Somebody had said to me, you should put the Patreon to donate per month as opposed to per video. Well, to be honest, the per video has worked out quite well for me. But there have been several people that have mentioned to me that they would prefer that it's per month because they don't understand or they don't. I don't know what the deal is, but basically, it doesn't really matter how you do it. I mean, if you say, I only want to give $10 a month, you can set that even if you're donating per video. But I may change it to the per month. So for those of you already donating, please be aware of this. I'm going to update that whole Patreon thing because I want to give more to people that are donating, and there are a few things that I want to change because I still want to go to the Congo. I'm dying to go there, but I've got a lot of things that I'm doing. I'm writing a couple more books, and I really want to try to get a photo book out, but I need to have a theme. So if anybody's got any ideas of what they would like to see me photograph and put in a book, I'm all ears. Because I've got so many types of photography. I mean, basically, I shoot travel photography, I shoot portraits, I shoot landscape. But there needs to be a little bit more of a theme than just this to make a book. And also, I want to try to get by the end of the year or a few months before the end of the year, I want to get a calendar out. So I got my hands full. But anyway, that's all I got. So until next time, I'm Scott. I am an American back in Bangkok. Chok di la jerken mai.